It's brought to you by the Dasani and the Powerade. What is it? It's the NBA segment on the Sports Mag Zone. And for a record-tying 19th time in his already illustrious career, LeBron James has been named as an All-Star. King James, the overall top vote-getter, will captain one of the teams in Salt Lake City on February 19 against a selection led by seven-time All-Star Giannis Antetokounmpo. LeBron apart, the players voted to start from the West are Nikola Jokic, Zion Williamson, Steph Curry, and Luka Doncic. The starters from the Eastern Conference are Kevin Durant, Jason Tatum, Donovan Mitchell, and Kyrie Irving. Now, before I go further, let me just say that. So when we say the East starters and the West starters, it doesn't mean that you're going to have East versus West. Remember that the NBA All-Star game is not like that anymore. It just means that whichever blend the players, the captains pick, those 10 men, well, the other 8 men, apart from Giannis and LeBron, the other 8 men, however they are mixed across the Team LeBron, Team Giannis, they must be starting when the game tips off, all right? They are starters. Anyway, there is bound to be controversy over the failure of the league's leading scorer, Joel Embiid, to earn enough votes to start, and to a lesser extent, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who's been tremendous this season. Joining us to talk about what the fans and the media may have gotten wrong or right in their selections is our NBA expert, Alistair Albert. Alistair, welcome.
Hi there, good night, guys. Thanks for bringing me on to discuss this. I don't think we've talked about All-Star selections yet, so I'm looking forward to this one.
There you go. All right, let's get right to it. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. Well, the elephant who's not in the room, Joel Embiid.
Yeah, Joel Embiid. Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, I don't think it's happened very often that the person who's leading the league in scoring is not selected as an All-Star starter. But that's what happens, I suppose, when people are starting to look at, how many games you played, across the time that, the season has been played. He's missed a couple of games due to injury. And I think a lot of people are just watching the Sixers as, they are a contender, but they're a little bit of an enigma. You don't really know what you'd expect from them. And though they're playing really well, I think they're second in the East right now, or second or third. I think people are probably just thinking that they're just not a very excitable pick, which will then lead to someone like Joel Embiid not being selected. Because remember, the starters' vote is really a popularity contest. 50% of the votes come from the fans. And if you see you're not considered an exciting team, you're likely that, as being one of the best players on that team, probably get lesser votes. And I think that's kind of where that happened. What happened with him, I think most people are looking at Jason Tatum and be like, he should be there. But that's just kind of how the votes fell, and he kind of got the short end of the stick on the East there.
But let's look at the East, the starters from the East again, and there's maybe another point to raise on top of what you've said about Joel Embiid, because if we look at the graphic of the East starters, so of course we have Kevin Durant starting from the East, we have Kyrie Irving starting from the East, we have Jason Tatum, we have Giannis, and we have KD and Donovan Mitchell. The question is, for those who say Joel Embiid's non-selection as a starter, not his non-selection because he will be an all-star, but not as a starter. In this East pool, whose place does he get?
Well, yeah, in this East pool, I think that the questionable one there would be Tatum as a forward, because, of course, he would only be eligible for one of the forward spots. I don't think he'll be able to get it over Giannis. Giannis has played remarkable, and in his right has kind of been in those MVP talks really early on in the season. And Kevin Durant, we saw what he did with the Nets, bringing them up to the second seed in the East, coming from 13th. And, we know what Kevin Durant is. He's all-world and one of the most popular players around the world. I think that the world vote as well in that regard is kind of affected Embiid in that way. Kevin Durant has been in the league for a little longer than Embiid. He has fans in China and everywhere. And, once the Chinese will kind of pushes you, you get that. So I think that's what's happened with Embiid there. It's just, popularity in that sort of way has kind of affected him. And, of course, there's the player vote and the fan vote as well, and the media vote as well, sorry. And I think he just came up short there, and that's why.
Right. I want to keep it in the East and talk about Donovan Mitchell, of course, the way he has grown as a player and, of course, earned his spot.
Yes, he did. Absolutely earned his spot. I think, we had earlier discussions earlier on in the season where, we discussed the Cavaliers. And, one of the things that I've said is he's come over from the Utah Jazz and he's come over to a team where you think sometimes there might be a little bit of, this assimilation slow down because, you try to ingratiate yourself with your team and your coaches and the city. And, the team, I think, have just jumped right behind him and allowed him to lead this squad. To the heights that they are right now. They're doing remarkably well in the top 4 or 5 teams in the East, coming from a play-in spot last year. And, I think, he's just done really well. How many points he scored a couple of weeks ago? Was it 71 in a game?
Yes.
It's probably deserves some sort of all-star consideration. So, yeah, I have no kind of qualms about, him being selected. Kyrie, on the other hand, I think he's one that probably needed to be looked at. I think if I had the choice, I probably would have removed him from the starting lineup as well.
Well, you talk about Kyrie. I have a problem with Zion Williamson being selected because of the number of games that he missed. So what's your take on him?
Well, yeah, exactly that as well. Zion, I think, people are looking at him and be like, well, Anthony Davis, why he has he been there, but Anthony Davis as well has kind of lost a few games. But remember what Zion has done for this team. When he came in and was really healthy, he got this team and contributed to this team and ended up being first in the West for a couple of days, as it was a couple of weeks ago and everything. And the team has just grown in terms of confidence and excitement. People want to watch the Pelicans. People think that they could be a threat in the playoffs. And, Zion has not just him, Brandon Ingram, CJ McCollum, the coaching staff, the rest of the team, they've played superbly. And I think behind Zion, he's made this team very exciting. And again, we talk about a popularity contest. Everyone wants to see Zion dunk on somebody and kind of just go up and do his thing. So I think that's why he's probably in before AD and some other players, deserving players like Shea Gilgeous-Alexander and some others.
Right, and as you're wearing your Lakers shirt, I'll give you another opportunity to talk about LeBron James, his 19th time as captain. The man has been doing it for long, and he's been doing it really well.
Yeah, man. Let it be known, I'm wearing this Lakers jersey as a tribute to Kobe Bryant, who died 3 years ago. I'm not really a Lakers fan, but of course, that's kind of what it is, paying respects in that way. But yeah, LeBron, it's going to be another Lakers celebration, I think, in this All-Star game. Even Adam Silver, whilst he was in Paris for the Bulls and Detroit game, said, he thinks that in this All-Star game in Utah might even end up being a celebration of LeBron James. George said it really early on in the segments that, he's 19 times selected. He leads the league in history in All-Star selections. And even tying All-Star selections with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, who is actually chasing for the scoring record. Kareem also was selected 19 times, but only played 18 games. He missed the game in 1973. So LeBron will be the only man ever in NBA history to have played actually 19 All-Star games in that regard. And it's crazy what he's doing. Like we've spoken about his scoring prowess and what he's been able to do while Anthony Davis is out. And popularity. We talk about popularity. The China voting, and numbers. He's a huge guy over there in China. Everyone, I think, synonymous. Who think about the NBA. And LeBron James is one of the players that you will think of as one of the faces, and he has been for some time. So credit to him for, again, longevity and pulling out 19 selections out of 20 seasons. That's crazy.
Yeah, last one before we go. While you've been talking, I've been thinking about there's a way that I think that Embiid can still start for the East. Because, as you very well know, KD is injured. He's missed, 8 games already? I can't see him getting fit and playing in an All-Star game immediately after getting fit. That will not happen because you'll win nothing from playing in the All-Star game. And right out of your injury, if you're going to go down again, it must be playing in a game that counts. So I see KD missing the All-Star game. He'll be there in Utah, but I see him missing the All-Star game. And I see Embiid getting a start in the East. Well, getting a start from the East as a result. What say you about that theory?
Yeah, Adam Silver will have that decision to make if KD decides to sit out. I think there was a couple of days ago, there was a few things that came out, rumors, of course, that, KD might actually consider playing. I think he's kind of getting ready and trying to wrap up some of his activity before the All-Star break. and might probably play 1 or 2 games before the All-Star break even comes in. But why would you need to do that? Don't rush him. You guys are 40 released right now. I'll do Tracery at a little bit. One of the things we discussed when Carey kind of had to take over as leader of this team. And maybe there might be a concern from a team perspective to try to keep their rankings and their standings up. Maybe KD might have to come back. I think we should preserve him. He should be playing, and I agree with you, take that injury replacement time off and allow Embiid to start, because I don't think Adam Silver is going to choose anyone else but Joel Embiid to replace Kevin Durant in that instance. So very much a chance that he can play the start instead.
Right. Well, Alistair, we want to thank you so much, and of course we'll chat again next week.
Next week, no problem, guys. Have a good week, everyone.
Same to you, sir.
All right, well, coming up next on the Sports Max Zone, despite a strapped hamstring, Novak Djokovic is rolling through the field at the Australian Open. The 35-year-old Serb is now 1 win away from equaling Rafael Nadal's all-time men's record of 22 Grand Slam titles. And later, we'll check in on a press conference involving the president of the World Anti-Doping Agency in Kingston. The JADCO chairman, Alexander Williams, was also in attendance, and he has promised that there will be no repeat of the Carifta Games foul-up that rocked Jamaica last year.